7 o'clock, I call the Hastings City Council meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, and let the roll reflect that all members of the council are, a quorum has been established, and we are all here. Tonight we have a proclamation to read, and we are recognizing Mark Peinie for the service that he has given to the city of Hastings for the last 35 years. So, Councilmember Pemble, would you start, please?
Certainly. Whereas Mark Peinie, Public Works Superintendent, is retiring January 31st, 2023, and
Whereas Mark Peinie has served the city of Hastings for over 35 years, and
Whereas Mark Peinie's service to the community has always gone above and beyond to make normal happen, and
Whereas Mark's institutional knowledge and expertise in water distribution, specifically the water treatment plant, lighting systems, and snowplow operations, has made him the go-to person in all areas of public works. And
Whereas Mark Peinie's depth of knowledge of the hydroelectric plant is beyond compare and was substantiated by the numerous educational tours completed in his career. And
Whereas Mark's care factor and passion to this community set the standard and expectation of operations, and
whereas Mark has built relationships with MnDOT, Dakota County, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, Minnesota Department of Health, Minnesota Department of Resources, and a number of key vendors, fellow municipalities, and others that will last and benefit the city of Hastings into the future. And
whereas Mark's calm and can-do demeanor was appreciated and brought success in times of emergency and critical consequence, and
whereas Mark's leadership by example has been contagious throughout the department over the years to inspire others to do the right thing in public works, in the public works profession.
Therefore, be it resolved, the Hastings City Council hereby recognizes Mark Peinie for his dedication and commitment to the city of Hastings.
thank you. Very honored.
If you want to say a few words, and then we'd like to take a photo.
well, let's take a photo first.
Let's do the photo first.
Since we're halfway here, let's do photos first.
Go ahead. All guys in back.
No.
I don't get it.
There you go, yeah.
Okay. Okay, wait a minute.
Oh, wait a second.
Wait a minute. Yep.
Oh. Thank you.
Mark, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
we always do that once every time you're this year, then you have reporters.
That's what I hear. I guess I'm gonna find out. Oh, I think I will.
What's that?
I'll keep busy.
Yeah, I know.
I have to imagine, I'm sure we'll see you around town.
Oh, yes, I'll be around.
You can't sit down yet. You got to say a few words. I just really like to say a couple quick words. Mark and I do dress alike. We plan this out
Dave has
quite often.
Before.
Yeah, we call each other before work every day and sync up our outfits. No, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to Mark. When I took on the role as interim public works director, I was a city engineer by nature. I'm an engineering guy. But man, the transition that I needed to make into Public Works was made happen by Mark. I mean, I honestly can say that. Any question I had, the light years that he brought me up to speed on the Public Works operations is just amazing. I can't speak highly enough of Mark and how he was able to join forces when we lost a lot of institutional knowledge. And he was right there, stepping up into the critical meetings, going through the weekly meetings with our city administrator, as painful as some of those and long as some of those meetings were. But day one, Mark was there right away for the city, for this community, to step into that role. And we didn't know where it was going. Nobody knew that the city engineer could step into this role, but Mark made that happen, more so than I did. He gave me the confidence to run the crew, to get up to speed on the operations. He brought that whole staff under my guidance and got us up and humming, and it felt like we never even skipped a beat, and that's because of Mark. And so I just wanted to say thank you, and I really appreciate the time that we spent together, and I look forward to your future successes. With that, Mark, I'm going to stop talking for once and let you take the mic. Thank you, Mark.
One time I wish you'd keep talking. Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody. You know, I got thinking today a little bit. Under my 35 years here, I've worked with 4 mayors, 4 city administrators, 3 public works directors. So yeah, I guess that kind of dates me, but I just want to thank you for keeping me employed for 35 years. It was, yeah, I'm just happy that I could work here, very honored for what you did tonight. Appreciate everything that's happened. So with that, I'm going to let you get on to your council meeting.
Thanks, Mark. We
All
wish
right.
you the best.
Thank you.
Council members, are there any, sure.
Retirement party, I just want to announce,
Oh, sure.
January 31st at 3 p.m. at the golf course. Just making sure everybody gets that on their agendas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Council members, are there any corrections to the minutes for the regular meeting on January 3rd? Okay. Comments from the audience. For public comments, we have options, comments to be emailed prior to the meeting or at this time during the meeting. I see no one on Zoom, and is there anyone in the audience that would wish to speak to the council? Okay. Council members, are there any council items to be considered? And council, I would accept a motion to accept the consent agenda. So moved. Councilmember Pemble and Councilmember House. Additional discussion? All those in favor of the motion state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed to that motion, state by saying nay. And that motion prevails. Tonight, under Community Development, we have a resolution authorizing the submittal of the 2023 CDBG budget. And welcome, John Hinsman.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. Tonight, as the mayor pointed out, we're adopting our CDBG budget. So you may ask, what is that? It's our Community Development Block Grant budget. It's funds that are allocated through the Housing and Urban Development section of the federal government. They're allocated to Dakota County to assist with individuals that are of low or low to moderate income. And Dakota County allocates a portion of that back to the cities to spend on those types of programs. So we are allocated $59,381 from that account, and tonight we ask for you to adopt a resolution to allocate where those funds will be going. What we have done with these funds traditionally is we've used these for assessment abatement, for different construction projects, street construction projects, where the costs of those improvements would be assessed back to the property owner themselves. And so individuals that are of low to moderate income can qualify for either a full or partial abatement of those expenses. And so that's what we're proposing to do tonight for our street improvement project that's coming up this year. So I can stand for any questions that you might have. Again, looking for an action to adopt the resolution, which needs just a simple majority. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Council, any discussion? Councilmember Lund.
Thank you, Your Honor. John, can you, for the group, explain what happens with the balance, if there is any, at the end of the year?
Sure. A council member, if there's any balance left over from these funds, they can be transferred to the next year. So we could carry forward 4 or 5 years worth of balances. There's a certain spending ratio we have to keep under, but I think we do have some funds left over from last year's budget as well for assessment abatement. So we're covered for this year, I believe, and if we need more for next year, I think we'll be good there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lund. Additional discussion. Council, I'd accept a motion to approve a resolution approving the application for fiscal year 2023 Dakota County Community Development Block Grant Fund.
So I'll second that, Your Honor.
Okay. Additional new discussion, Council? All those in favor of the motion state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed to that motion state by saying nay. And that motion prevails.
Thank you.
Council, thank you, John. Council, any announcements? Councilmember Fulch, did you have something?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to quickly give the council an update on the proceedings of the Dakota County Broadband Board. As you know, we've been a member since its inception. And so it's really, I feel very personally sad about, the course of action in which has happened. So the Dakota County Board, was in December, before there was a change in the makeup of the board that was going to occur, where one of the positions was changing, and they ended up moving forward with dissolution of the broadband board, that the county is planning to pull out of the DBB. And so originally they were going to immediately withdraw, and which is amazing within itself, because it's a very complex group of 11 cities, that are members with the county. Everyone had already, signed off on the joint powers, agreement that we had. And there's, legal questions about, what does that mean, if the county withdraws, because within there's language about, all assets, everyone that had, that had already, authorized it, that there were obligations that were then, to be had, and there was. And so I could go on and on and on, but what's really very sad is the haste in which the board has moved, and really what's super disheartening is that the technical advisory committee, which is made up of the professional staff, the IT staff, the city administrators and such, that have really been, the backbone of moving forward with the DBB the last several years, has always worked together, has always, every time the board had an issue that they wanted, to have they're called the TAC, then the Technical Advisory Group, for the TAC to work on, they would work on that, and they would bring forward recommendations. And in the end, there were just 3 key members that were on the DBB, the Dakota Broadband Board representative, who is now chair of the Dakota County Board, Liz Workman, and then 2 other representatives, one from the city of Lakeville and the other from Burnsville. They clearly they disregarded any of the recommendations of the TAC and just suddenly proceeded to want to withdraw from the DBB, and it was just really shocking that they ignored the entire endeavor, had gotten kicked off because we wanted to be the most efficient in managing, fiber assets for our county. The most cost-effective, efficient way to do it was, by all the cities in the county to work together. And then also there is so much potential for furthering, economic development into the future and helping to assist businesses, eventually. The first task at hand was just taking care of government business so that we had redundancy, business continuity, kinds of structures in place, to be sound, but, what we had really hoped for in the future was that it could be an economic development tool, and then furthermore, that it would put Dakota County in such a position that we would be ripe for going after major grant funds from the federal government. And as we're seeing now that the Biden administration is coming out with a lot of money for fiber, and in the last half of 2022, these three individuals, including the majority of the folks who are on the Dakota County Board, just hastily made decisions about dissolving the group and completely disregarded the TAC, and really showed very little interest in being supportive of the other cities that are within the group. That the big three are like, okay, well, we're able to do this on our own, and we're only interested in supporting ourselves, and really disregarding the whole partnership that brought the whole group together. And so in the end, we're at this point where now the board has the decision, to dissolve. What they've brought forward to the cities is that we'll no longer have this network of partnership where the county just wants to have individual agreements with each of the cities to be able to use the city's fiber, and which just absolutely shocking and just, in my opinion, I would say repulsive, is that the county's agreement that they're offering to the individual cities does not provide the cities the ability to decide within their own jurisdictions as to how it is they may want to use that for economic development in the future, that it would be subject to the county board on each individual project, fiber project, where in the future they may want to use for economic development purposes with other entities, that they have to go to before the board and ask the board for approval. And so it really just flies in the face of local government decision-making authority. Economic development is statutorily provided, at the municipal level, and the county board is trying to take that away from municipalities. And so I know that this seems like minutia and is like super boring, but what has happened to the DBB in the last year and a half, 2 years, should be studied by political science professors at major universities as to the dysfunction of having, elected boards governing groups like this, where when a lot of it, from good government, best efficient means, having synergy by working together collaboratively, how it all can just be torn apart by political motivation, and I think that there's a lot of. I personally speculate that there are other issues at hand where that are really based around greed and wanting to have money kept within seats of power within the Dakota County Board, and so anyhow I could go on and on, but so what's the next step is that. And kind of the final step, and I don't know if even the board cares any longer about what any of the cities have to say about any of this, because clearly the Dakota County Board has not cared about how this affects the cities, how it affects their operations, how it really puts us in, I believe, just at such an inopportune position. We could have been the leader within our state. Our county could have been the leader in our state of Minnesota. Just a powerhouse when it comes to moving forward with joint initiatives and fiber projects, and it's just all been flushed down the toilet. And I can't even begin to imagine the taxpayer dollars that have been wasted as a result. And so what we'll be seeing, coming forward in the next couple of months will be an IRU, which is an agreement that the county is going to ask each of the individual cities to sign. And currently that IRU has language in there, as I had said, that gives the Dakota County Board final authority over economic development decisions that are going to be had within each respective city. And so I ask that we, hold off as the DBB board. Currently, we're trying to negotiate with the county to have more reasonable language placed in there to allow for decision-making authority to be made at the municipal level rather than at the county. And so again, thanks for listening to me, because I know that this is boring stuff sometimes, but geez, when it just comes down to the fundamental rights of municipalities and being able to know what's best for our own communities and to have a county board trying to take that away from us. I mean, we really need to stand up and pay attention to what's going on at this point. So thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Fulch.
Right.
Councilmember Lund.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Councilmember Fulch. I know you spent a great deal of time in those meetings, and I have a question to your announcement. Is there Dakota County representation that possibly could attend at that point when we're looking at that IRU? Something to think about, to answer questions. Just, it's more of an open question.
Thank you, Councilmember Lund. All right, other announcements. Hastings is proud to be the home of the large selection of over 40 restaurants. This year, the city will be celebrating the first annual Restaurant Week, January 15th through the 22nd. Follow the city's social media for updates and restaurant discounts. Experience snowshoeing on Saturday, January 28th at J.C. Park. A park naturalist will lead participants through floodplain, forest, and prairie. Snowshoes and instruction provided. Pre-registration required on the city website. Thank you to our partner, Dakota County Parks. Experience ice fishing on Saturday, February 4th at Lake Rebecca. A fishing license is not required under the DNR permit, and bait, tackle and poles are provided. All fishing is catch and release. Pre-registration required on the city website. Thank you to our partners of Carpenter Nature Center, National Park Service, Minnesota DNR, Hastings VFW, Hometown Ace Hardware, Get the Lead Out, Rapala, and Vexillar. We will highlight many of the exciting and important work being done at the annual State of the City on Wednesday, February 8th. This year, the event will be a State of the Community with presentation by the city and the school. Please join us in person or online. Happy birthday to the gentleman sitting next to me at the end of the month. Meetings, Thursday, January 19th, 6:30 p.m. is PSAC. Monday, January 23rd, 6 p.m. is Planning Committee. Monday, January 30th, 7 p.m., Public Safety Committee. Monday, February 6th, 5 p.m., City Council Workshop, Elected Officials 101, and 7 p.m., council meeting following. I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Councilmember Leifeld. Oh, Saturday, there is an event downtown with, I believe there's 15 ice sculptures that'll be around, actually, I think the community. Okay, and please join in. Go on to the website or the Downtown Business Association website for further information. Now I would ask for a motion to adjourn. And Councilmember Fox. No discussion, council, all those in favor, state by saying aye. All those opposed, state by saying nay. Okay, we are adjourned.